Hey everyone, it's Laura. I hope you can hear me. There's a weather warning in New South Wales today in Sydney. It's freaking windy out, and I'm up on the sixth floor, and you can hear my windows rattling and the wind blowing. And I can hear the wind, but I'm not sure if you can. Here, let me take these off. Actually, I know there's light shining in there, but that's all right. So here's what I wanted to talk about today. And actually, I'm going to start talking more about this because I do mindset work every single day. So I thought it'd be great to just get on here and let you know what I'm working on. And because I find it so interesting, and I think that probably other people will find it interesting too, hopefully. So, what I was working on today is receiving. Now, I work with the law of attraction a lot. And mindset. And I've been studying it for a really long time. So I listen to tons and tons and tons of people about that. And I find it really, really, really interesting. So if you don't know the law of attraction, I assume you do because you're on here. It is about basically having the life you want, a successful life you want, understanding that there's abundance in the universe and that everybody has a chance to really take part in getting that stuff. And so there's sort of the three things that you do when you are using the law of attraction is ask, believe, and receive. Now I work on all three of those things with people. But even for myself, I find that probably the hardest one for me is receiving. I think a lot of people have trouble with this one. Now, I mean, it comes from, there's so many things that make it really hard to receive. If you think about sayings, it's better to give than to receive. When you're in online business, there's so many people that are like, you should be giving stuff for free. Like people want results, but they don't actually want to put in the energy to make the transformation that they need to in order to get the results that they want. And so they just kind of expect you to provide that for them, which is impossible. They need to transform in order to even do the stuff that you're helping them with. So it's really interesting. What I really like to do is sit down and go, okay, what am I having trouble with? Let's look at the questions that I have over why I'm like, I do tend to start with why questions. Why am I having trouble with this? But then I realized that anytime you ask a question that looks like, why can't I do this? You're confirming that you can't do it, right? And as we all know, your subconscious mind runs the show. So anytime that you are saying things like that, you're really telling your subconscious that you can't do it. If you say things like, why am I so fat? You're basically saying, well, I'm fat. So your subconscious is going to work on that, so that basically it's saying, okay. So if you say, why am I failing at this? What you're saying is, I'm failing at this. And your subconscious goes, okay. So if you study the law of attraction, it is coming from sort of external places. The results that you're getting it feels almost like people are giving you the results that you want. God's giving it to you, the source is giving it to you, the universe is giving it to you. But really what I believe is it's all subconscious. It's all starts from within you, and the results of what your subconscious patterns are is revealed in the life that you're living. So I have made a huge change in my life. From the beginning. I mean, I was really kind of supposed to, if I was living the life that I was supposed to have, I would pretty much be, in a rural town somewhere, like with 10 kids and like no money. So I don't live like that. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I have an awesome marriage. I have an awesome husband, and we live in an awesome apartment with great views. And I've really I'm completely on the opposite end of where I was supposed to end up. The expectations for me in my life were very low from other people. Just like, you know, those ones where you're like, oh yeah, that one. Ooh, what's going to happen to her? Oh, yeah, you know, that kind of thing. That would have been me, but I'm like, no. So I have been able to receive a better life. I've been able to let that in. It took me a really long time. But receiving, if you are an online business owner and you are finding it really difficult to receive payment for what you're doing, that's a big one. Being able to receive money is the hugest thing. But also being able to receive the results of the work that you're doing on your body, things like that. I was going to the gym I was like doing HIIT training for 4 years, and I still was having like body, you know, I wasn't where I wanted to be. And it was food, but I've actually come up with some ways to completely change how I perceived. This is a weird way to say it, but I had to figure out what I really wanted, and then I had to visualize it while I was in the alpha state. So you can get there with meditation and other things, but you really have to know what you want. And your subconscious works in pictures, so you need to really know what you want, and you need to know what you want based on what you actually want, not what you think you should want. Not what you think other people think you should. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we make decisions and we go, I really want this thing because other people will think I'm really nice, when it's actually not even what you want. So it really is important that you're asking for what you actually really want. It's important that you believe that you already have it. And there's ways to do that. I don't really like the I am statements, because I think a lot of people, if you can say them over and over again, but if you can't get behind them, you don't believe them, they're not going to do anything. So there's some other things that you can do, but receiving is the big one. And I think that if people actually start with receiving, it'll completely change your life. Like start with receiving and then go back. And yeah, just being able to go, to see yourself receiving without feeling guilty, actually celebrating that you're receiving. None of this, you can do all that you want to believe and to ask for what you want, to believe that it's coming. But when it finally comes, you're like, no, I'm just, give it to somebody else. And it's all the whole like deserve and worth and all that stuff. That's bullshit. Like seriously. We think that's what it is, but you're actually getting something else when you do that. You're actually receiving something, but it's just not the money, or just not that energy. So if we can get underneath what is actually causing that, what is stopping you from letting yourself receive. I want you to imagine that you actually, especially if you're an online coach, I think a lot of it has to do with, because it's not an actual physical product, it's not tangible. So if you think about selling, now this is a little story I have for you, selling, you're in a kiosk, can you hear that wind? You can see the blinds coming up because it's like, I want you to imagine that you're at like a market. And for the last 15 years, which is how long I've been working on mindset stuff and law of attraction stuff, for the last 15 years, you haven't, done a degree in apple pie making, but man, you've made a lot of apple pies, and your apple pie is freaking bomb, right? I'm just using apple pie as a, seriously, don't worry about it. If you can't bake, that's not what this is about. This is just a story. Imagine you're in a kiosk and it is the farmer's market or whatever it is, whatever, and you have the best supply in the world, and people come and like you say best supply in the world and you market it, and then people come and they go, you should be giving that away for free. And you're like, are you freaking crazy? I have been spending the last 15 years perfecting my recipe, and I paid for all the ingredients, and I spent the time in the kitchen making this stuff. And so, no, it's not free. Here's a little sample. I'll give you a little sample for free. And then they taste it and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then they're like, I will give you whatever you want because I want this pie. It's so yummy. And you're like, okay, well, you know, this is how much it is, $5 a slice or whatever it is. And they give you the $5 and they're like, thank you for this pie. It's freaking amazing. And we are fine. I think if it was a scenario like that, we feel fine with taking the $5 because we've earned it. We worked on our pie and we bought the ingredients and we're totally fine. So we take the $5 or whatever it is and we give them the pie, and it's an exchange. And the exchange feels good both ways because you know you've done the work, you know that you have the wisdom and the experience and all that kind of stuff, and that you can help them feel great because they're eating the pie and they're like crumbs and like drool and like they're coming down and they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I ever ate in my life. And you're like, yes, thank you very much. That's awesome. You feel great. You've made them feel great, and you feel great because you have, gotten $5 for your work and you've given them something amazing. So think about that when you are having trouble with receiving. Just because it's not a tangible thing that you've made, you've not made a pie, you've made something else, you have given somebody information that is changing, life-changing. You've given somebody your experience, which is life-changing. You have, or maybe it's not even life-changing. Maybe it is changing the way that they, it's just improving something that they really want improved. They have been looking for a way to improve something in their lives, and you can offer that to them. And it's an exchange of energy that is happening. Now, here's the thing. I can say that stuff until the cows come home. But if that pattern is stuck in your head that you should just be giving people stuff for free and that information is not valuable and your experience isn't valuable, it doesn't matter what anybody, and somebody can say to you, you just, you're worth it, and all those kinds of things, which I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to say. I think that's great to say, but conscious, people talking to your conscious, mind isn't going to change your subconscious patterns. And so you really, you need to get in there while you're in a state, when you're in not in beta state, which is when you're awake and you're talking and all that kind of stuff. Alpha's next, and you need to be at least in alpha, if not theta, to really, for yourself, like to get your conscious mind out of the way and to have a direct conversation really with your subconscious mind. And also, your subconscious works in feeling and in pictures, whereas the conscious mind is more verbal. Anyways, when you're in alpha state, you're not talking, you're visualizing. Meditation is a example of someone. If somebody's in the alpha state, they're probably either meditating, or when you first wake up, or when you go to bed, that like in between completely awake and sleeping state. Those are the alpha and theta states that we want to be in when we're actually trying to communicate with our subconscious mind. Now I'm just going to tell you the story really quickly about how that helps me with my body, really. I have been really wanting to do intermittent fasting, and I did try it before, but it was quite difficult. But I'm doing it now, and I have been for about a month, and it's actually pretty easy. But I have used that technique, gone into alpha state, and really visualized what it would look like and feel like for me to have the body that I really wanted. So focused on what I wanted, put the blinders on, not worrying about what other people are saying, and also not worrying about what I'm kind of worrying about what other people are, if other people are trying to make me look a certain way, which is, you know, media, but also people in your life that are like, you feel like they're coming in on the sides and like giving you reasons why you are not getting to your goal. It's about putting your blinders on, focusing on what you want, just like even rising above, rising up, looking down at everybody who's, you know, wants you to be how they want you to be, and just like leaving them down there and focusing on what you want. That is a really great thing to do if you have goals that you want and you're having trouble trying to reach them. But this is all receiving, receiving, receiving. If you have trouble receiving, if you feel guilty about receiving, if you feel shame about receiving, if you feel like you really need to suffer, to struggle, to, you know, in order to receive, if you feel like you really need to put in the hard yards and like, you know, wring, you know, water from a stone kind of, or blood from a stone in order to get where you want to go, then you probably have limiting beliefs that indicate that that's what your belief is. Your belief is that you really, really, you need to work hard for what you have. You need to suffer, and it's bad to receive. So all of those things kind of put together really add up to a difficult time of it. Anyways, I love talking about this stuff, and if you love talking about this stuff, definitely get in touch. I would love to, love to chat with you about it, love to work with you. And so you can contact me on my website, www.lauracameron-stedman.com, or right here on my page, and I would be happy to hear from you anytime. All right, see you later.